Welcome to Morning Infusion with Dr. V, where we are intentional about connecting you with leaders that have overcome so that you know that the possibilities are endless. It's Dr. V here, where our coaching program teaches nurses to work from their computers anywhere around the world, making money and owning their own time. Our featured guest today is Whitney Horry. Miss Whitney Horry moved to Rocky Mount at 5 years old. She is the daughter of Raymond Horry and Beverly Frazier. Both parents have remarried, and she is blessed to have four wonderful parents. She attends Word Tabernacle Church, where she serves on the middle and high school ministry. She works in the surgical services department and is a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Whitney enjoys spending time with family and friends, shopping and traveling in her spare time, and I absolutely adores her four godchildren. I love it. I love it. I love it. So thank you, Whitney, for showing up
Yes,
today. so now,
yes, no problem.
why did you want to become a nurse from the beginning?
Well, actually, the funny part is I really wanted to be a pediatrician. I love kids, and felt like that's what I really wanted to do. But then I was looking at it and I was like, I don't really know if I want to be one in school that long, and two, I don't really know if I want to work on kids. So I was like, well, let me, do a different route. And so that's how nursing kind of came about, because I knew I wanted to do something definitely in the medical field.
That's too funny that you love kids, but then you went to the PACU. We're gonna have to talk about that.
Yeah,
So now,
I
how did you
know.
get to the
It's
PACU?
crazy. So when I first graduated nursing school, I went to Halifax. Well, it's North Halifax now, or Vita North. But it was Halifax Regional at the time. And so their ER, I worked in their ER. There was, all ages, of course. And that's when I realized that I like kids, but when they're hurt or anything like that and they're just crying, I wasn't really in tune with that, because I was just like, oh my goodness, like I just want to fix it. I don't know what to fix, because of course they can't tell you. So that's kind of what steered me away from like pediatrics. And then I moved to Missouri, crazy enough, for like a year, came back home. And when I came back home, a PACU nurse position was available. When I applied, I got it, and here I am.
Gotcha. It's really interesting that, because the way that I look at children, because I love taking care of children as well, but one of the ways that I look at children is like I want to figure out, like
Really.
it's like a puzzle for me, like a puzzle of how to figure out, well, what's going
Yes.
on with them. Like if they stand up, like, like we have found many, not many, because there's not been a whole bunch of femur fractures, but there have been a few. And all you have to, you stand them up and they're like,
Hmm.
not wanting to stand up on that leg. And you're like, well, what's going on with them? It's just like a puzzle. And I'm like,
Right.
we got to figure this out. We got to figure this out. We got to figure this out quick. And one thing that I did like about children is that children, like they tip up, like, and then they fall off the cliff, right?
Yes,
So
they
they will
do. Exactly.
compensate, and then they
Until they
fall off.
can't no more.
And when they fall off,
Yep,
oh,
very
you better
true.
be ready.
They fall. They have fallen, okay? Like, and that's crazy, because like you said, even with PACU, of course we have kids as far as like dental, kids come get their tonsils out, like you said, kids come and break bones. So in that aspect of things is okay, and I like it and I enjoy it for that. But like you said, you got a small, and so with them they've had anesthesia. So now, with them it's more so respiratory. So like
Gotcha.
you're zoned in on like, okay, I need you to breathe. I need to make sure that you're breathing. I need to make sure that, there's nothing that's gonna go wrong, because for them, of course, it's respiratory failure first for the most part.
That's right.
So that aspect of things are like they definitely keep you on your toes.
They sure do. They sure do. Now, you received a degree in public health initially, but you went to school to be a nurse. What were some of the reasons that you chose this lane?
So just because at the time, and I'm sure even still now, nursing was just so competitive. So even though my GPA met the requirements, there were still more people where their GPA was higher than mine. And then at the time too, they only, of course, let in a certain amount and different things of that nature. And so I knew that I didn't want to spend 5, 6, 7 years at ECU trying to get a nursing degree. So what I did was I just looked to see what degree was already compatible with the classes and courses that I've already taken. And then I was like, okay, I can maybe do nursing at a community college, which is what I ended up doing.
I love it. I love, just not giving up and not letting that defeat you just because, it was
Right.
not available at that time. So now, even though you're not able to get into nursing school, the university level, you decided to go to the community college route. Now, where did this tenacity come from for you?
I just knew, like I said, that it was something that I wanted to do. So once I got my degree in public health, I actually did an internship at the health department in Nashville.
Hmm.
And doing that, I worked with a lot of public health educators because that's what it was, community health education. And I just knew that I wanted to do something more hands-on. I wanted to be more involved. I enjoyed the education piece of things and teaching people about not smoking and diabetes and breast cancer. Those were some of the avenues that I went down as far as the education. But I wanted to do more hands-on. I wanted to figure out what happened or why, or kind of be more in the actual medical side of things instead of just the education. So that kind of pushed me to go ahead on, go back and do it before I got lazy.
I love it before I get lazy. And the thing about it is
Yes,
that, public health is the thing that is really, really going to be the thing, because at the end of the day,
exactly.
we're going towards value-based purchasing. So what that means, for the audience, is that value-based purchasing means that whenever a consumer comes into your organization, comes into your hospital, it however they are taken care of, the quality of care that they received is how you are reimbursed.
Hmm.
But the reality is that we as humans are very complex, right? We all have our different
Hmm.
DNAs, which makes it a little bit difficult to determine treatment modalities, right? And so, as we determine those treatment modalities, it's much better to
Right,
have a healthier individual than it is to have an unhealthy individual come in. The more unhealthy you are, the more you smoke, the more you drink, the more you do all those things, then the
right,
more unhealthy you are. And so then it makes it a little bit more difficult for you to go through. So we have to begin on the front end, right? We have to begin taking care of those patients prior to even hitting the hospital scene. So now, you said that you had an issue with a particular nursing instructor. What did she tell you and your mom?
right. Oh my, that was indeed a challenge. It's amazing because, of course, being an African American nurse, some people look at it, sad to say, and think that you're supposed to struggle or you're supposed to do this or you're supposed to do that. And so, in that particular situation, she just really felt like I wasn't working as hard as she felt like I should work. I was working extremely hard, but it wasn't, I guess, to her standard. And she felt like I wasn't, that I didn't want it as bad because of the fact. And then a little backstory on that too. I think like she had kids and she was, I mean, going through family stuff and all of that. And in my life at that particular time, I didn't have any of that. So the struggles that she wanted me to have weren't even in my life, as far as like kids or family things that I was going through. And so she was like, well, when I was going through nursing school, I was doing it with kids and this and that. And I'm like, but ma'am, I don't
Okay.
have kids. So you can't expect me to do this. Like, and it was really crazy. And yeah, and I was just like, oh my goodness, like, she wanted me to do so much and be, and I don't know if how hard she wanted me to jump to please her, but it didn't work out.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And I'm a
Yeah.
firm believer that your nursing school is, nursing school can be very different. So now we were talking about this beforehand. So tell me what's
Mhm.
different about nursing school than kind of other schools, I should say.
Oh yes. So for me, look, not to boast or brag, but school was something that I enjoyed and still do enjoy, to be honest. So I love learning. I love, figuring out things, reading about things, and just being able to hold on to that particular knowledge. But nursing school was getting that knowledge as well as applying that knowledge, but being able to apply that knowledge 5 different ways. um, and so that there kind of took me for a loop in the beginning because it was something that I had never experienced before. I won't say, I mean, I will say in a sense, like school and work came kind of easy for me. But nursing school was different. I had to really, really focus in, really zoom in on what's important, realizing that nausea and vomiting is a side effect to just about everything. So that can't always be the answer choice. And just figuring out how to study and how to like decide which answer best fits this scenario or this piece of information or this question. Because even though all the answer choices listed could fit it, there's one that fits it better. And so honestly, now of course I'm very grateful for it because it does make me a thinker even more. And for me to really view the whole picture. Whereas before, I would like, if you may read something and say, Jack has a black dog. And then the question would be like, what color is Jack's dog? And okay, it's black. But in nursing school, it's like, Jack had a black dog. What color was his right foot? Or, just you're like, wait a minute, what? What? And so you really have to like look into the question. So it was different, very, very different.
Well, and I think that, and I tell people this all the time. I said, in most courses, whenever you go through the course, there are four answers, right? And one of them is right. In nursing school, there are four answers, and four of them are right. You just got to pick the most
Hmm.
right one, right? I mean, and that's just what that is. So now,
Yes,
so now, do you think it was the same way in your
right.
RN?
You're
Do you
right. I'm just like,
do you think it was the same way, like your associate degree and your BSN degree? Do you think they were the same?
no, actually, I feel like my BSN degree was a lot easier. Reason being is just because I had already gotten the mindset and the program of how my associate's degree was, but I already knew the material as well. So more so with my BSN, it was more like papers and applying and leadership stuff and things like that instead of actual um, hands-on nursing and questions like that. It was still, of course, some, but I already was aware of the type of questions and the type of way that I needed to study, and the material wasn't foreign to me. So it made getting my BSN, I won't say easier because it was very time consuming, but it made it more enjoyable. I'll say that.
Gotcha. Now, what is some advice that you would give the person that is entering the program for the first time?
Hmm. You said what kind of words would I have for them?
Advice. Uh huh. So, what is some advice you would give?
I just think that as far as entering the program, you just have to be ready. For me, I wish I was more. It really nursing school for me really tested me. I wish I was more mentally ready because it takes a toll on you mentally. Especially someone like me, like I said, that loves to spend time with family and friends. I love to travel. I love to do all of these fun things. So when school came into play,
Whitney. Whitney, can you hear me? So apparently Whitney is in she is in Kissimmee, um, out on having an amazing time. And I am so super excited for her. So I guess one of the things that, as it relates to, I'm gonna add her back to the stream. All right.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, so now the last question was, what is some advice that you would give the person that is entering the program for the first time?
Okay, definitely. I think, like I was trying to say, was just mostly to be mentally ready for it. I don't think that I was as mentally prepared as I thought I was. I'm genuinely and naturally a strong person. So just going into nursing school and realizing the amount of time that you really need to set aside to study, to learn, to really focus and be and put yourself in that position um, of nursing school. And nursing school is something that you really must want. It can't be something that you're just like, oh, I guess I'll go to nursing school today. It doesn't work like that. So, like, you really have to be mentally prepared for it. And once you made up in your mind, this is what I'm going to do, this is where I'm going, then I think it does work out.
And I think that, what you said about being mentally prepared is it has to be something that you really want, because a lot of
Yeah,
people going into it because they think, well, this is going to make me money. Well, that money, it will
exactly.
never compensate for all the trauma
Never,
you go through. Never. Not
never.
a bit. So
No,
now,
and
go
oh, go
ahead.
ahead. Oh, and I was gonna say too, I think oftentimes people just forget, and not so much forget, but when you're a nurse, you're so much more than just that nurse. You're a social worker, you're a dietary, you're helping the doctors, you're a friend, you're a family member. This- Depending on your religious beliefs, you may be in there praying, you may be a prayer partner. You're so many different things, and you wear so many different hats at that particular time, that you're not just a nurse. And
Gotcha.
so I think that's also key as well.
It is very much key. Now, who has been a person in your life, in your nursing career, that that has impacted your life at thus far, and why were they so impactful? So we'll start with the person in your life that was so impactful. So who would that be?
I would definitely say my Uncle Bobby. He passed away last February 2019. Um, and so he really impacted my life just because I would go sit, talk with him, let him know like, hey, I think I'm gonna go to nursing school. He was like, all right, girl, you got it. He was like my cheerleader, and amazing enough. So crazy thing is, I would help him all the time as far as like arranging his medications and different things like that, because that was my practice. He said. And so right before I actually took board, I went over to his house and I put his medicines up. I did like education. He was like, well, why am I taking that? What am I taking that for? Can I get off that? What I need this for? And so I went through each and every medication. And to God be the glory, those medications were on my board. Yeah.
Wow.
It was
Wow.
it was so crazy. Like I called him, I'm like, I think I passed because of you. It cut off at 70, and I was just like, I don't know, but I was like, but I'm pretty sure, like, because it was like I knew the information because I had just did it like a day or two before with him. And I was like, and that was crazy. Like, I knew he didn't know, but I was like, did you know what questions were going to be up there? He was like, no.
No.
Like I knew he didn't, but it just sounded good to be like, did you set this up for me? And that really made me happy to know, like, I actually went in and um, knew the questions, knew the material, and I was comfortable in it. And so that really made me feel like, okay, this is something that I'm meant to be doing. And
I
so,
love it.
yeah, and so I loved it, and I, every time I'm like, I'm a nurse because he's like, yep, don't you forget it.
I bet you he did.
Yeah.
I love
So
it.
yeah, so like every time I'm like, I'm a nurse because of my body. Like I don't know. Like I learned a lot in nursing school, but yeah, he really, like I said, all time cheerleader. He was always, pushing me forward and saying, "Hey, you got it." I even went over there one time. I was like, I don't know if I want to be a nurse. I was like, this is too hard. I can't do it. He was like, yes, you can. You got it. You got it. So just mainly having that cheerleader, of course, along with my parents, they are awesome support system. You definitely need it when you're in nursing school, not just for, if you have kids or anything like that, but a strong support system that can let you know that you can do it. Because trust me, you'll have some days where you crying, where you upset, where you like, this ain't it. I'm stressed out, but it is working in the end.
That part right there. Now, who is a person in nursing that has affected your career? Did you hear the question?
Say it one more time. I'm sorry.
Who is a person in nursing that has affected your career?
You know what? I honestly, and this may be like kind of jumbled up, but I take a little bit of something from every nurse that I meet, from every person that I meet, and kind of build my own person in a sense. I can't say that it's like one particular person um, that has done great for me. Like I can think of Takesha Lynch she was my preceptor in nursing school. She played a huge role as far as giving me the foundation, giving me the basics. Some of my instructors, they played a huge role as far as, teaching me what I needed to learn. Even now, I'm meeting so many people and so many nurses where I take a little bit from them, whether it's how they are at the bedside or how they do certain things or how they even view nursing. So I think it's just a little bit of everything, kind of like a soup mixture, a little bit of everything dashed in the pot, and it just works for me. And I'll take something from everybody, and then I form my own support in a sense as far as nursing. Because no nurse, ironically enough, of course, does nothing the same or alike, regardless of what it is. And so there's some things that I say, oh, okay, I like that. I like that. Okay, let me take that. Oh, wait a minute, I may not like that. And so I think that's what it is too. As far as role models and things of that nature, definitely I've met some, even being back at Nash, working in PACU. Um, we had a phenomenal PACU nurse that dealt with feeds, Lisa. She was amazing, and I took granted a lot from her because she ended up retiring. So she taught me a lot, took me under her wing, and made me more comfortable with working with pediatrics, especially after surgery. So um, that's another one, like I said, that has really taught me a lot.
Gotcha, gotcha. I love it. I love it. I love it. Just taking everything, and I do the same thing as well. Now, tell me a book that has impacted your life, and why was it so impactful?
Honestly and ironically enough, I'll never forget. I don't know exactly how old I was, but my mother gave me a book called The Skin I'm In by Sharon G. Flake. A wonderful, phenomenal book, especially for us melanated sisters. And I loved it because of the simple fact it just gave me the courage that I needed at that particular time in my life. And, going to school, and kids can be so mean and so cruel. And it just made me comfortable really in the skin that I'm in. It made me really love myself. regardless of what may come at me. I can do anything. It was really a good, impactful, uplifting, empowering book for me at such a young age. I might have been, I don't know, third, fourth grade reading it, but that book has stuck with me. It's motivated me, and I actually said that I wanted to read it again, just because I literally read that book and took off. I ran with it, like, hey, I got this. And so I think now that my confidence level is really where it needs to be for the most part.
I love it. And that is important. I'm glad your mom did give that book to you early on, because
Hmm.
sometimes, we want to be like everyone else. And what
Exactly.
and what we have to realize is that we have our own unique sauce. We have our
Yep.
own unique thing. We bring our own unique purpose to this world. And when
Hmm.
we learn what our purpose is, it's a game changer. When you
Exactly. It
stay
really is.
within who you are and what you do. It was a young lady who I was on Clubhouse yesterday Saturday morning, and she was talking about the fact that she did not like she English was her second language. And so,
Mm.
you know me. I mean, I talk as country as they come. Okay. All right.
Me
So,
too.
and so, we were, I was thinking that I wanted to talk more like the people from the north, right? And
Uh-huh.
this one man came up. I don't forgot where maybe it was on a TikTok. I can't remember exactly how I got exposed to him, but what he said was, "You and that country accent." He was talking to some other girl. "You and that country accent. Oh, don't you ever get rid of that." And I thought, somebody likes something about her. And
Exactly.
right. And so when she started talking, I was like, I really like the way, like the accent that she has. And she doesn't
Hmm.
even like it, right? And so
Yep.
it's our own self-talk that is important, right? We need
Hmm.
to have that self-talk that says you are important, you are okay, you are amazing, right? And
Exactly.
that self-talk, because what other people think about you ain't none of your business.
Yep.
The more you know that, it ain't none of your business. Okay.
Yeah.
And I watch a video in the morning, and one of the things that they talk about is the fact that, the most dangerous words in the English language is, what will other people think? Ain't got
Yeah. I
nothing.
feel that. Yeah. Exactly.
Most
Nothing.
don't,
And
it ain't none of
honestly,
my
yeah.
business.
And you know what is crazy enough? Something else too. Years ago, I don't even know how many at this time, but my mother and I went to a women's empowerment session, and that they did in Raleigh, and Steve Harvey was the guest speaker at this particular one, and he said something. He was like, he had to realize that once he got delivered from people, he was okay. And I
Hmm.
think oftentimes that's what it is. We put ourselves in this box because we think people put us in this box when theoretically they don't. And it's us putting ourselves in the box based on what we think they think. And so I think that's always important. So like I said, after that I was like, oh no, I got this. Like I'm bad. I can go this, I can do. And
And
it took off.
understanding that I can't be in your head. I mean,
Yeah,
it's hard enough to be in mine.
exactly. I know that's right. I feel
I
that.
can't be in your head and my head too. It just ain't gonna
Right.
work out, right?
No, not at
So
all.
I love it. So thank you, Whitney, for showing up today. You are
No
amazing. Thank you
problem.
for
Thank
showing up
you.
even on vacation.
I know. Thanks for having me. No problem.
So now we have just finished up our VP Nursing Business Academy 4-day masterclass. It was such a phenomenal event. You still have time to sign up for VP Nursing Business Academy. Last day is July 5th, 2021. We can jump on a call so that you are able to gain clarity on how to create multiple streams of income. You can sign up at vpnursing.com. I ask that you like and share this podcast. And just know that Morning Infusion with Dr. V is where we are intentional about connecting you with leaders such as Whitney that have overcome, so that you know that the possibilities are endless. You guys have a phenomenal rest of your day.
Bye.